Hit it. Whoa. Welcome back. Hey. To a lemon squeeze. To a lemon squeeze. Hey. Whoa. Welcome back. Hey. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey. Hey, bro. What is Gucci, y'all? Welcome back to a Lemon Squeeze. My name is Barrett. I am the host of this show. This is a platform where I sit down with students of color and talk about things affecting our community that don't get talked about in the classroom. And today, we got a very special episode for y'all on the topic of post-grad anxiety in the midst of a pandemic. Now, COVID has affected all of our lives top down, but it especially affected me and people close to me being a college student now in my fourth year of undergrad. But I really wanted to sit down and have a conversation with recent grads on how COVID-19 has been affecting their lives and how they're handling things right now. So I got together a group of friends and one of my professors, and we had a great discussion on the uncertainty and the fear that comes with graduating, and also what recent grads can do now to better prepare themselves for the future as we start to see the after effects of COVID. This episode right here is sponsored by my man's Big Mind Lemonade, the best tasting drinks on campus. Y'all, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more episodes of Lemon Squeeze. And if you want to support even further, share this video with friends and family. It is much appreciated. Alright, I'm done talking y'all head off. Welcome to episode 9 of the Lemon Squeeze. I wanted to actually start off with Shannon and Des with this first question. I just want to jump off the conversation with just getting like a gauge of like how y'all are feeling right now, mentally, emotionally, like just what is the raw, like how are y'all feeling right now in this, in the midst of this pandemic? Either y'all can go first. I don't really care. Just raise your hand if you want to go.
So with me, at first I was shook, as I'm sure most people were. Like, I didn't know how to react. I'm already had anxiety, so then that just like made it worse because I love like planning stuff. So I think I finally kind of just settled into knowing that now I just have to like take it day by day and like truly like live in the moment. So I've been doing better, and I think it's, like I said, settled in more, but still, of course, like every day is a challenge. Like now I have to stress about like the job market thing. But it definitely is better from day one, because day one I was freaking out, like it was rough, but now I'm better, so I've accepted it.
I agree with Destiny. At first I was honestly devastated. I think the biggest thing that got to me was graduation and not being able to have like my friends and family there to celebrate me, because I feel like it's the one thing that you do that everybody comes and supports, and like a lot of people are in on it. So I was sad that I didn't get that. But now, like she said, I feel better because I felt such an abundance of love during this time. And I feel like more people have banded together and people are just kinder now. Like everybody's just understanding. So I'm actually really hopeful, in a better place, like she said.
Like, what was your first reaction when VCU had hit us with that freaking email talking about, oh, so yeah, no graduation, we're doing it in December instead? Like, what was y'all like raw, like first reaction to that?
So I called everybody. Like, I called my 2 best friends. I called my mom. Well, I didn't even call my mom because I was with her at the time, but I called my sisters. Like, I was not happy. Like, I was really emotional. I'm not gonna lie, because like Shannon had said, like that's like the peak. Like that's what you look forward to. Like people don't get walking across the stage is way different than just, all right, hearing your name. My family, thank God for family, like they celebrated with me, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been able to really settle into what's happening now. But like my family came through, and like we had something like a graduation celebration. So, but I was pissed. I was real pissed.
Rightfully so.
The biggest thing that got to me was that VCU said we would be having a graduation with December graduates. And I was like, well, I could have stayed an extra semester for that. Like, as time has went on, I realized that a lot of things are done because everyone's uncertain. So I couldn't stay mad. I couldn't stay mad at VCU. I couldn't stay mad at other people. But like you guys said, like everyone's going through it. Every senior, whether in college or in high school, is going through it. So my feelings have changed. I'm still hoping VCU will do it at the earliest convenience, but I'm at a different standpoint than being pissed now.
Oh, one more question for you, Shannon. Like, if they do end up doing it in December, are you coming back, or you just?
I don't know. I
feel like so much of like.
Yeah, I told my family I might be over it by then, so I don't know if I'm gonna come back. But I don't know. December just feels so far away. So
yeah, it is far away. Like, yeah.
To be determined.
Are you coming back, Des?
Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm down the street though. That's why. Like I'm from Chesterfield, so it's like I'm right here,
not far.
And like I gotta walk across the stage, but like
sure.
I gotta make my own stage. I'm walking across the stage.
Sure. I feel that. All right. Well, this next question is more for the entire panel, because like we're all like stuck in this like space where it's just like hard to just know, and I feel like even beyond just graduates, even if you had jobs or internships lined up or anything of that sort, or maybe you were growing whatever you had personally, there's definitely there had to have been some type of like mindset change of like before COVID and like during COVID. Like you can't go about certain things the same way you could have before. As someone who might be in their own career field already, people who are not in their own career field already, either one, how has like your overall mindset had to shift during these past few months of COVID-19? Like how's your overall mindset had to shift from then and looking forward to like how you're gonna like be successful even during the pandemic?
So personally for me, I feel like having the COVID shift kind of caused me to be able to focus more, being able to kind of take away time from what I was doing before, because I was pursuing becoming a pilot, and a lot of the testing centers got shut down and all the dates for a lot of the other tests got moved, postponed indefinitely, as we're still seeing. So it just gave me more time to be able to study, kind of focusing on what's important. I got to really work on my relationships with my family, with my friends, and kind of just, come back to where I'm at in my life and what I want to do going forward. So.
Well, COVID for me, I was already on my own sort of journey. When God put a pause on life, it kind of shifts a little different. But by the time COVID got here, I kind of realized that, it was an enlightenment stage, that I was already in transition, but this season required me to really be my own champion. And now I'm at a point where I am grateful enough for the small things, giving myself grace for the things that, are out of my control. And it's like, take time to do some reading, take time to like enjoy being with yourself, like be able to appreciate yourself and say, hey, like you may not have got it all together, but at least you're one step closer than where you were yesterday. What can I do today to make tomorrow even better?
I feel that, man. I feel like, bro, this freaking pandemic has grounded so many people. Like it literally has gotten some of us to like force us to just sit down somewhere and really just be like, what do you want? How are you gonna make things shake for you, bro? Like all of this running around, you tend to get caught up in like life, bro. COVID has honestly, and it does sound bad, and I understand it's this pandemic has destroyed a lot of lives, but for me, it's definitely God has blessed me with a space and a time, bro, where I just got back on it, man. I got back on it mentally. I had a chance where I can slow down and figure out, okay, Bear, like things might not go the way you had planned a couple months ago. So it really grounded me and it really humbled me as well. It really grounded a lot of people, and I definitely agree. Like it's different. It's different. Go ahead, Terry. I think you had something to say.
I think the shift for me, like when the quarantine first started, it was like, all right, cool, I get a lot of time to chill, you know. But I take my MCAT July 18th, like it kept getting pushed back. Now the actual date is July 18th. And so the biggest thing was I'm gonna chill in the beginning, but after a while I realized that if I slack or chill too much, then when it comes time to return to civilization, then I'm gonna be late. And so what I started doing was basically the time that I work, like y'all probably see me yawning throughout the whole thing, is because like 6 to 8 hours of my day is just studying for the MCAT. So I've been able to replace that time that I go to work with studying, running, working out, and all of that, and trying to pick up a lot of good, healthy habits instead of picking up certain vices. I've been afforded the opportunity or afforded the time to be able to get strong in my religious journey. I feel like all of the noise is canceled off for everybody, so you finally get to see and reevaluate the intentions that you have set for your life. So if you've been able to, like I've been able to really accumulate a lot of good healthy habits, so when we return back to society or regular society, then there should be no problem for me to just get the ball rolling.
So for me personally, this pandemic, y'all, took a shift. Before, like I'm always busy. I always got a schedule. Sierra wakes up, she's here. She gets home at 10 o'clock, right? Has as much time for herself. But finally, I had more than 24 hours to myself, and it was constant, right? And after graduating in December, like I was at a place where like I'm working, I'm providing for myself. I'm not quite where I want to be, but I knew where I thought I wanted to go. But I really got you to sit and think, which was law school, by the way. I was like, I'm going to go to law school in 2021. As things are happening in our society and I'm sitting here like literally doing nothing about it in a sense, it really just gave me time to think about what do I really want to do and what am I called for? And I really was just able to sit and ask God for direction and not listen to the noise, not listen to what people expected of me, not listen to how well I'm doing in my job, and not listen to what the world needs of me, but what God needs of me, and just to really just sit and to be in that. So yeah, it's been really clear. I just needed this time to woosah, to relax, and just look for and find clear vision. So it's really been helpful for me.
Like everyone said, for me, I felt like this pandemic kind of did strengthen my relationship with God, because like Sierra said, it was so much, gotta do this, gotta meet this deadline, gotta be here, gotta go to work. And so I was able to focus on things that matter, focus on myself, focus on my relationship with God, and work out more. I felt like I never had time to work out. So like Terry said, building good habits, and it's like, it's bad, the pandemic's bad, but it was always, you can always find like some good in some situations, if that makes sense.
Cool. So this is a question for those who graduated before this month. In previous years, do y'all remember, like, what were y'all biggest fears coming out of undergrad into grad? Go ahead, Terry.
So seeing all of my friends graduate, and especially those who went the business route and they landed their jobs and all of that, and people preparing, they were all set up. And me, a bio major, I knew that I either had to go into research or go to like med school, or I would have basically had to change a course in action to actually land a job that'll be sufficient enough to meet my needs. And so I went through this period with the post grad anxiety, because when you sent out to me the information, he was like, what is post grad anxiety? And the ego in me was like, I ain't had none of that. But then I thought about it, and I thought to a time, it was a very specific period where I would be at work, because I scribe at a clinic, and I would be at work questioning myself, like doubting myself, like, yo, am I really set out to be a doctor? Am I capable of being a doctor? Because I was just looking at the timeline of a lot of other people. So I'm sitting there looking up other jobs, looking at other descriptions, looking up other stuff on VCU Handshake and all of this stuff, basically running from my assignment because I really wasn't focused. I just had so much anxiety. And so it wasn't really until I just took a step back and was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually doing at every day and every point in time? Because when I looked at other areas of my life, I wasn't really committed to anything. And that lack of commitment in one area spilled out to so many others that I got to a point where I looked back and I was like, dang, I really have nothing going on. But at the same time, I was like she said earlier, I was still going forward because I had already set other stuff up prior to that. I just had to trust my process.
So for me, number one, it's like I graduated, great. I got the skill set, woohoo. I have a job, thank God, right? But it wasn't exactly like in the field that I want to be in. Let's start off with the fact that I graduated knowing that I didn't want to be in the field that I graduated with, right? But I had a passion and a purpose that was different. Granted, I could use the skill sets that I have, but I was just like, dang, compared to my peers or the people that I'm around, am I successful enough? Like, did I do what I was supposed to do? And did I take advantage of the opportunities that I had in college? And then I had to sit back and be like, whoa, number one, like you said, like I didn't go into business where I can be in a Fortune 500 company and automatically be successful. But just knowing that the steps I take and where I am called to be is not in a job description, right? But it's in the goals that you accomplish and the people that I influence. So while I may not have that check that I expected of getting while in undergrad, I am exactly doing what I'm supposed to do. And when I look back 5, 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to be able to inspire other kids who are coming out into college, not getting their dream job, because literally for me, there is no dream job. There's just accomplishments that must be met. And just to not measure your success based off of the income that you're making.
Well, I know for me, my biggest fear was moving into a new location and not really knowing what to expect. And for me, the decision that I made to come to A&T, like, I wasn't fearful or nervous about that, but I was still surprised on like how fast I made that decision. Because then, like, as soon as graduation came into play, it's like, all right, you spent all your life with a twin, so then you go and move into a different location, like you out there by yourself. So yeah, you ain't got your family, but you also don't have your other half. So like you battling stuff, like, yeah, you got your strengths and your weaknesses, but then you got this unknown cloud of stuff that you got to make up for yourself that's been missing because you spent so much time. So a lot of times I still like spent doubting myself or like taking too long, delaying answers to questions, getting back on people and certain stuff like that. And I just had to take that time to realize, like, bro, it's not that deep. Like, you got one goal and you either gonna meet it or not. So
actually, definitely, speaking of A&T, I actually originally went off, my first school I attended was A&T. I went there for football, right? So Aggies, so shout out to the Aggies. But I think for me, it was important that I got to get through this small part because it's important, because I was a first generation student. And so I actually lived in Japan. My immediate family, my brother, my sister, everybody lived in Japan. And then that's when I went off to A&T. And so you talk about a first gen student, I don't live in the same country, right? And so I'm learning all this different stuff. And I actually ended up failing out of A&T. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I was an athlete, but I was only there to be an athlete, not to be a student, right? And so when I failed out, I was like, I took some time off. I ended up joining the military. And I was like, you know what am I gonna do? And how can I mitigate as much risk as possible? So when I lived in North Dakota after Japan, I said, okay, I'm going to take care of X, I'm going to take care of Y, I'm going to take care of Z, so that I know by this time I'm done, I know that there's going to be risk, but how can I like minimize that as much as possible? And so I'll say, okay, now that I got my graduate degree done, I dropped my job, I saved all my money, and I drove 21 hours straight to the East Coast, because I said, okay, it's going to be easier to get a job on the East Coast if I'm already living there. And so the only fear and anxiety that I had was, how long is it going to take for me to get a job, and how long can I last? So, when I'm thinking about, fear and anxiety, the only fear and anxiety is what I expected, not anything that was beyond my control. And so when I think about what students are going through right now, it was already guaranteed that you weren't going to get a job. That's already the first guarantee. It just so happens to be that we're in a pandemic. And so that's a different thing that nobody can prepare for. So that just creates more, stress and anxiety. But the first thing, if we're thinking about it, 60% of students when they graduate don't get a degree in their career field. So you are already at a small margin to begin with. This is just something that's just added on. And so that's my little thing. I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, you good. You made a great point. Like, you already at a disadvantage as far as, because a lot of people don't end up getting jobs right after, in the career field right after college anyway. You know what I'm saying? So this pandemic, when you think about it, it sucks, but you are the fact still remains that you still have to believe in yourself and believe in the all of the hard work that you put in thus far. That's the fact still remains that you still have to make that shape. You know what I'm saying? So that was an important point. Does anyone else have anything to touch on that? Go ahead, CC.
Real quick, just to add on to like number one, the job isn't guaranteed and what that workforce looks like when we do go back into society. Just realizing the advantage that we have as young people who now have degrees and skill sets. Y'all, one skill set that we all have that we didn't have to go to school for was technology. Like my bosses are asking me, Sierra, how do I do this? How do you log into this? What do you, y'all, it's really as simple as this. Like it's really not just hard. Just play around with the technology and you'll figure it out. So how do we take this time to leverage our skills so we can be the leaders in the workforces when we get to where we need to be, because they need us and we're available. So yeah, you have an advantage. Yeah, use them.
For sure. That actually perfectly transitioned into my next point. This is for a question for Roy. So, when it comes to like the job market, obviously the job market is like changing. So like, are there any like skills that like recent grads can kind of like hone in and like focus on now to like better prepare them for, you know, after this is all clear? Because you know, obviously this will change a lot. So like Sierra was saying, like technology, all kinds of stuff. So in your opinion, do you think there are any specific skills that grads can kind of like work on now to kind of better set themselves up for the future?
That's a very good point. And Sierra actually pointed on it earlier, something that, you know, recent current graduates already have are, you know, social media and technology acumen. That's something that I'm still learning on certain platforms on what works. But then one of the best things I think that students can always thinking about, and I actually challenge you all with that in class, is if I was not given a job, how can I think about what I am learning and the skills that I'm building in my degree plan? How could I make money for myself with that? You know, so for example, if you're learning graphic design, you don't have to go work at a creative agency or an advertising agency to do graphic design. You can do it for a clothing brand. You can do it for local people starting businesses. You can do it for a litany of things. Anybody that's trying to communicate something, the first question that I learned is, how can I do this job myself? The biggest thing is also just talking to people. And when I say talking, I mean, what communication are you doing? Are you asking for things, or are you giving value first and then getting the return on that residual information? And I think that the soft skills are going to be more important than ever, because right now, any student, at least the students that I work with, everything is always transaction. When can I get out? What classes do I need to get? How does this get me a job? As opposed to, how do I make myself a better individual that people will want to do business with me, as opposed to me having to ask for it? So long story short, y'all already got the technology. It's time to focus on those soft skills and build those relationships.
You did it, Roy. You did it. Cece, you did it too. As an admissions counselor, like one thing that's really big for me is after graduating, I didn't have the networking skills. I didn't have that. Business majors had that. You know what I'm saying? But like everyone else, not even a communications major, got that privilege. And I had to figure that out on my own, even though I had some bumps along the way. So of course, yes, soft skills is one. Another way to help you navigate, especially for recent graduates. Say you want to be a teacher. All right, cool. A lot of times you think, oh, I'm just going to go teach at a high school or a middle school. Your position means so much. You know how much value you bring to that position? The title does not bring you value. You bring the value. You bring the coin to the table. And it took me a very long time to figure that out. Just stop thinking of your position as just this one singular thing. You can be anything that you want. You can be a teacher and then at some point be a director of a program for the administration within your whole district. You could come up with a proposal that you find very important. Go to your director and actually spearhead that program. You can literally do anything. It's an intersectionality that's happening right now, especially when you're at home due to COVID-19. This is the time for you to explore. What are your hobbies? If you like social media, that's fine. Your mama's probably telling you that's not going to get you a job. But if you like social media, use that to your advantage. If you like to go into insights and see, what the demographic is, oh, that sounds like a different type of verbiage I'm talking about, but that's how you get jobs. Explore on that. Social media isn't just social media. Being an archaeologist isn't just being an archaeologist. Like, explore, read articles. I'm sorry for some of y'all, reading is fundamental, okay? It is. The only way you're going to know about what you want to be or what you want to do, you have to explore.
I was going to go back to that networking point. So I did go through the business school, and one of the things that they kind of stressed to us the entire time is it's like who you know, and you know who you know will get you to the door, what you know will take you through it. So I would say just reach out to your networks, because it might seem like there's not a lot of jobs out there, but a lot of the opportunities are just opportunities that you haven't heard of yet. So it's more so a matter of exposure. If you put yourself out there, if you're able to reach out to friends, classmates, people who, just acquaintances, it's really just kind of keeping up with what people are doing. And social media makes it so easy. You know, one little swipe up on someone's food story, all of a sudden you're having a conversation. You mention you're looking for a job, and then bam, they have an opportunity for you. So I'm just saying, keep that in mind and keep up those relationships.